Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Danut pranams to all of you. Thank you all for joining in for our study session today. Today we are continuing with the study of Krishna book. Last time we did chapter number 5. We couldn't go YouTube live. I don't know, some issue happened. So devotees are asking me to redo that session. So we're doing chapter 5 of the Krishna book again, right? The one we did on that night, right? The night session at 8:15 to 9, like that. So that session we will do again, chapter number 5 of the Krishna book. Let us start with the prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradhayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauradushe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyev cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Mande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tatsat Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Taralaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Danat Pranams, dear devotees. So in our previous session itself, we discussed chapter 5. So to quickly give a summary of what we've been seeing thus far. So we all know that Krishna is born in the prison house of Kamsa, and Krishna appears in his four-handed form, and by the request of Devaki, he assumes the two-handed form. And then Krishna asks Vasudev to actually take him to Nanda Baba's house in Vrindavan, right? So in a nutshell, what happens is when Vasudeva Krishna, of course, he crosses the Yamuna river, Yamuna actually bathes Lord Sri Krishna and washes the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So in this way, Anantashesh comes and protects Lord Sri Krishna as Vasudeva is taking him to Vrindavan. So in this way, everyone tried to render their service to Krishna, and in this way, Vasudeva carries Krishna, Vasudeva Krishna to Vrindavan Dham, where Yashoda Maya has given birth to a boy and a girl. Right? The Acharya has explained Yashoda Maya actually gives birth to a boy and a girl. Right? The boy is Vrindavan Krishna, of course, and the girl is Yoga Maya. But when Vasudev goes and places the child there, as per the instruction of Krishna, he's only able to see the boy. He's not able to see he's not able to see the boy. He's only able to see the girl by the arrangement of Yoga Maya. Actually, Yoga Maya appeared as a girl child. So he kept the baby Krishna there and took the Yoga Maya, the girl child, and went to Kamsa. So here Vasudeva Krishna and Vrindavan Krishna, they were both merged together, right? So Vrindavan Krishna is said to be always the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya, like that. And then when Vasudeva goes back, Kamsa understands that it is only a girl child who's been born as the eighth child. Yet, as being instructed by Narada Muni, that any child can be the first child or the eighth child, like that. So he was very bewildered. He was very much in anxiety. He threw the child like any other child. All the first 6 children of Devaki were thrown like that by Kamsa and they were killed. But this particular child, what does this girl do? This girl turns into Mahamaya, right? And she actually tells Kamsa that the child that is supposed to kill you, tumhara kaal jo hai, right? The one who's going to kill you is already born, like that. All right. So now we're going to see what are the interactions between Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj, right? As Nanda Maharaj is coming to pay tax to Vasudeva. So let us see what is happening now as an interaction between Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva. What are the lessons learned from this wonderful chapter? All right. So let's go ahead. Chapter number 5. I'm sharing my screen. Let's see who's want. Okay, devotees want to read. Can raise your hands. Okay, I can see Shobha Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, The meeting of Nanda and Vasudeva. Although Krishna was real son of Vasudeva and Devaki because of
Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. The father is Vasudeva. The son is Vasudeva. Yeah.
Although Krishna was a real son of Vasudeva and Devaki, because of Kamsa's atrocious activities, Vasudeva could not enjoy the birth ceremony of his son. But Nanda Maharaj, the foster father, celebrated the birth ceremony of Krishna very joyfully. The next day, it was declared that the male child has been born to Yashoda. According to Vedic custom, Nanda Maharaja called for learned astrologers and brahmanas to perform the birth ceremony. After the birth of the child, the astrologers calculated the moment of the birth and make a horoscope of the child's future life. Before the birth ceremony, the family members take baths, cleanse themselves, and decorate themselves with ornaments and nice garments. There they come before the child and the astrologers to hear the future life of the child. Nanda Maharaja and other members of the family dressed and sat down in front of the birthplace. All the brahmanas who were assembled there on this occasion chanted auspicious mantras according to the rituals, while the astrologers performed the birth ceremony. All the demigods are also worshipped on this occasion, as well as the forefathers of the family. Nanda Maharaja distributed to the Brahmanas 2 lakh cows, which were well decorated with cloths and ornaments. He gave the Brahmanas not only cows in charity, but also hills of grains decorated with ornaments and golden bordered cloths. In the material world, we possess riches and wealth in many ways, but sometimes not in every honest and pious ways, because that is the nature of accumulating wealth according to Vedic injunction. Therefore, one should purify such wealth by giving cows and gold in charity to the Brahmanas. A newborn child is also purified by the gift of charity to the Brahmanas. In the material world, it is to be understood that we are always living in the contaminated state. We therefore have to purify the duration of our lives, our possessions of wealth, and ourselves. We can purify our duration of life by taking a daily bath and cleansing the body inside and outside, and accepting the 10 kinds of purificatory processes. By austerities, by worshipping of the Lord, and by distribution of charity, we can purify the possessions of wealth. We can purify ourselves by studying the Vedas in order to understand the absolute truth and achieve self realization. It is therefore stated in the Vedic literature that by birth everyone is born a Shudra, that by accepting the purificatory process one becomes twice born, that by studying the Vedas one becomes a Vipra, which is the preliminary qualification for becoming a Brahmana, and that one perfectly understands the absolute truth, he is become he is becomes a Brahmana. And when the Brahmana reaches the further perfection, he becomes a Vaishnava or a devotee. In the Krishna's birth ceremony, all the assembled Brahmanas began to chant different kinds of Vedic mantras to invoke all good fortune for the child. There are different kinds of chanting known as Shuta, Magadha, Vanti, and Virudhavali. Along with the chanting of mantras and songs, bugles and kettle drums sounded outside the house. On this occasion, the joyous vibration could be heard in all the pasturing grounds and all the houses. Within and outside of the houses, there were varieties of artistic paintings done with rice pulp, and scented water was sprinkled everywhere. Even on the roads and streets, ceiling and the roofs were decorated with different kinds of flags, festoons, and green leaves. The gates were made of green leaves and flowers. All the cows, bulls, and calves were smeared with a mixture of oil and turmeric and painted with minerals like red oxide, yellow clay, and manganese. They wore garlands of peacock feathers and were covered with nice colored cloths and gold necklaces. When all the ecstatic cowherd men heard that Nanda Maharaja, the father of Krishna, was celebrating the birth ceremony of his son, they became spontaneously joyful. They dressed themselves with very costly garments and ornamented their bodies with different kinds of earrings and necklaces and wore great turbans on their heads. After dressing themselves in this gorgeous way, they took various kinds of presentations and thus approached the house of Nanda Maharaja. As soon as
Hare
they
Krishna.
heard
Thank you,
that,
Mataji.
Haribol, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So yesterday, when we were reading this chapter, we were saying, in Vrindavan Dham, Dina Bandhu Prabhu, right? In Nanda Bhavan, he always sings this song. नंदगर आनंद भयो जय कन्हैया लाल की हाथी दीन घोड़ा दीन और दीन पाल की जवान उनको हाथी घोड़ा बूढ़े उनको पाल की नंदगर आनंद भयो जय कन्हैया लाल की जय कन्हैया लाल की जय कन्हैया लाल की हाथी दीन घोड़ा दीन और दीन पाल की जवान उनको हाथी घोड़ा बूढ़े उनको पाल की. So in this way, the modern day birthday celebration can draw its roots from Krishna's birthday party, right? That Nanda Maharaj actually threw, right? For all of the, and how was that? That birthday party was like giving in charity, right? Hathi dina, ghoda dina, aura dina palki, right? Nanda Maharaj gave elephants, chariots, horses, right? To youngsters he gave the horses, right? Hathi dina, ghoda dina, aur dina palki, jawan unko hathi ghoda. Elephants and horses were given to youth, young people, and bude unko palki. The old people were given nice palanquins. So in this way, a very wonderful charity was given, especially to the Brahmanas. And in this way, Nanda Maharaj actually celebrated Krishna's arrival as his son. So in this way only, when we celebrate, then what is it that we do? We offer charity to the Brahmanas because Krishna is well-wisher of the Brahmanas. Namo Brahmane Devaya Go Brahmane Hitaya Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So in this way, Krishna is the well-wisher of cows. Krishna is the protector of the Brahmanas. And anyone who feeds the cows, who protects the Brahmanas, are very dear to Lord Sri Krishna. So Nanda Maharaj also fed all the Brahmanas and gave even cows in charity to all of the Vrajavasis as he celebrated the birthday of Krishna. Okay, let's go ahead. Let me share my screen. Yeah, Rajneesh Prabhu, please go ahead. As soon as they heard,
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
As soon as they heard that Mother Yashoda had given birth to a child, all the cowherd women became overwhelmed with joy, and they also dressed themselves with various kinds of costly garments and ornaments, and smeared scented cosmetics on their bodies.
Okay, we'll
As
skip the
the
next paragraph. It is basically talking about how the Vrajavasis dress themselves, because we're doing a quick summary for this chapter, as we did not go through, as we will not, go on YouTube for this session, but we covered the session in detail, this chapter. So quickly we will go through that. All the gopis dressed themselves very, very beautifully, and they were all eager to go to Nanda Maharaj's house and bless the little child. So how did they bless the child? Live long, just to protect us. Right? We all know Vrajavasis are completely dependent and are surrendered completely on the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. So in this way, they offered a mixture of turmeric powder, oil, yogurt, water, etc. And they were also an expert band of musicians who accompanied them. In this way, singing and dancing and very joyful mood, they all went to Nanda Maharaj's home. And Nanda Maharaj was also very happy to see all of the cowherd men and cowherd women come to his home, and also chanting the various verses from Upanishads and Puranas. In this way, Nanda Maharaj was very happy to see all of them, and he gave everything, like garments, ornaments, and cows in charity. Yes, Prabhu, go ahead. It is very important to note.
It is very important to note that in this connection, how wealthy the inhabitants of Vrindavan were simply by raising cows. All the cowherd men belonged to Vash community, and their business was to protect the cows and cultivate crops. By their dress and ornaments and by their behavior, it appears that although they were in a small village, they still were very well rich in material possessions. They possessed such an abundance of various kinds of milk products that they were throwing butter lavishly on each other's bodies without restriction. Their wealth was in milk, yogurt, clarified butter, and many other milk products, and by trading their agricultural products. They were rich in various kinds of jewelry, ornaments, and costly garments. Not only did they possess all these things, but they could give them away in charity lavishly, as did Nand Maharaj. Thus, Nand Maharaja, the foster father of Lord Krishna, began to satisfy the desires of all the men assembled there. He respectfully received them and gave them in charity whatever they desired. The learned Brahmans, who had no other source of income, were completely dependent upon West community for their means, and they received gifts on such festive occasions as birthdays and marriages. When Nand Maharaja was worshipping Lord Vishnu on this occasion and was trying to satisfy all the people there, his only desire was that the newborn child Krishna would be happy. Nand Maharaja had no knowledge that this child was the origin of Vishnu. He was praying to Lord Vishnu to protect him.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna. So, the sum and substance of all the desires and activities of pure devotees are only to serve, satisfy, and please Guru and Gauranga. Sam Siddhir Haritoshanam. Why did Nanda Maharaj actually call all the Brahmanas and fed all the cows? Why did he worship Lord Vishnu? Right? Because all of this was to satisfy Lord Sri Krishna. When Lord Sri Krishna is satisfied, then all of his parts and parcels, being all of the living entities, are also satisfied. However, if we try to independently satisfy our senses, then we will be bewildered. In this material world, whenever we try to satisfy our own senses, we'll only get frustrated. Hence, we should always engage in the service of the Supreme Lord, and in the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord lies our satisfaction, lies our bliss. Why? Because the origin is Vishnu, right? And Nanda Maharaj was actually praying to Lord Vishnu to protect Krishna, right? Because the Lord has appeared as the son of Nanda Maharaj, right? And Nanda Maharaj is assuming responsibility as a father, right? Na janani na sashyat, na guru na sashyat, na janani na sashyat, na pita na sashyat, right? One should not become a father or a mother or a guru if one is not able to deliver one's dependence back home, back to Godhead. So in this case, we see how Nanda Maharaj is also praying for Lord Sri Krishna, right? To attain the perfection of life. Whom is he worshipping? He is worshipping Lord Vishnu. Yet yajnatat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Whatever activities we perform, we have to perform for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, activities will cause a bondage to us in this material world. And then we move from one species to another in this material world. So we see that the father of Krishna also, he performs this charity, he performs this celebration for the arrival of his son by worshipping Lord Vishnu. Like that. All right, let's move ahead. Who's reading about Rohini Devi? Anjana Mataji, go ahead. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Rohini Devi, the mother of Balarama, was the most fortunate wife of Vasudeva. She was away from her husband, yet just to congratulate Maharaja Nanda on the occasion of birth ceremony of his son Krishna. She dressed herself very nicely, wearing a garland,
Yeah.
a neck.
So yes, Mataji. So this also, she dresses herself. Actually, it is said that a wife should not dress very well if the husband is not around. But in any case, for the for welcoming Lord Krishna, for Krishna's celebration, even Rohini Devi, who is currently in Nanda Maharaj's house under the care of Nanda Maharaj, is also dressing very nicely and going for this for this celebration of Lord Krishna's appearance. And Prabhupada also talks about the richness of Vrindavan, right? The Vrindavan is also full with opulences. Why? Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead decided or chose Vrindavan to be the dham for his pastimes. And how can such a place be bereft of opulence, right? Yes, Mataji, go ahead. After the birth ceremony, now we are coming to the crux of the pastime, wherein Nanda Maharaj is going to Vasudev to actually pay his tax, right? Because Vasudev is the king now, right? Because Ugrasena actually gives the kingdom to Vasudev to actually rule. So in that way, Vasudev is also a part of the administration. And as Nanda Maharaj is a Vaishya and Vasudev is a Kshatriya, so he actually goes to offer taxes to Vasudeva. And in this way, there's a very wonderful conversation of love and reciprocation, of inquiry. We're talking the other day. Dadati pratigranati guhyam akyati prichati. Bungate bonjete cheva sarvidam priti lakshanam. So the loving exchange between Nanda Maharaj and Vasudev, that is in terms of giving and receiving gifts, giving and receiving charity, and also revealing his mind in confidence. Right? How does he reveal in confidence? He asks, how are Krishna, how are Balaram, right? How are your sons? So in this way, Prabhupada actually makes a point here that Balaram is the son of Vasudev, that Nanda Maharaj knows, but Krishna is also the son of Vasudev, that Nanda Maharaj does not know, because he thinks that the child next to Yashoda, who was Krishna, was actually given birth to by Yashoda. Of course, Yashoda Maya is the eternal mother of Krishna. It is also said that Devaki and Vasudev also did a lot of tapasya, because of which they got Krishna as their son, like that, right? And we all know, we already read in the previous chapters itself how Balaram was transferred from the womb of Devaki to Rohini, and in this way Balaram is known as Rohini Nandana, right? Balaram is born as a son of Rohini, right? And finally Prabhupada also mentions here how Nanda Maharaj knew that Balaram was the son of Vasudev, whereas he did not know that Krishna is the son of Vasudev also, right? Now let's see what are the kind of loving reciprocation between the Lord and his devotee, right? Vasudeva then addressed Nanda. Okay, who's reading? Okay, Anjana Mataji, you can continue. Yes, go ahead.
Vasudeva continued, my dear friend, it is very
No.
difficult for
Vasudeva then addressed Nanda. My dear brother.
Vasudeva then addressed Nanda, my dear brother, you were old and very anxious to beget a son, and yet you had none. Now, by the grace of the Lord, you are fortunate to have a very nice son. I think that this incident is very auspicious for you. Dear friend, I was imprisoned by Kansa, and now I am released. Therefore, this is another birth for me. I had no hope of seeing you again, but by God's grace, I can see you. In this way, Vasudeva indirectly expressed his anxiety about Krishna. Krishna was sent incognito to the bed of Mother Yashoda, and after Nanda very pompously celebrated Krishna's birth ceremony. He went to Mathura, so Vasudev was very much pleased and said, "This is a new birth for me." He never expected that Krishna would live because all his other sons had been killed by Kansa. Vasudeva continued, my dear friend, it is very difficult for us to live together, although we have our family and relatives. sons and daughters. By nature's way, we are generally separated from one another. The reason for that is that every living entity appears on this earth under different pressure or of fruitive activities. Although they assemble together, there is no certainty of their remaining together for a long time. According to one's fruitive activities, one has to act differently and thereby be separated. For example, many plants and creatures are floating on the waves of the ocean. Sometimes they come together and sometimes they separated forever. One plant goes one way and another plant goes another. Similarly, our family assembly may be very nice while we are living together, but after some time in the course of the waves of time, we are separated. And
Hare Krishna.
the
Thank you,
purpose
Mataji.
of Hare
Hare Bol.
Krishna,
Thank you, thank you.
continue,
So, Hare Krishna. So, here again, we are talking about a philosophy, right? Where Vasudha was explaining the philosophy that Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yoganam jara tata dehantara pratyet Dhiras Tadhranam Muyati, right? Vasudeva is now talking about how, one acquires a body according to one's past desires and karmas. And accordingly, a group of people have come together now, either as a family or as a society or as a community, right? But each one has to fly their own airplane, right? Nobody can ensure that, okay, somebody's association will be there with me all the time. I can never ensure that. If I have somebody's association right now, then I have to make the most of it, right? Because people move to different destinations according to their past desires and karmas and the reactions of the activities they performed earlier. Prabhupada gives examples of how plants and creepers come together floating at a particular point in some river, and then what happens, they start drifting away, each going its own way. So like that, human beings also, they come together as brothers, sisters, father, mother, children, etc. They all come together for a certain time and they perform their activities of devotional service, and then each one have their own destination, right? You cannot have one particular person's association all the time, right? So in this way, Prabhupada, in the words of Vasudeva, he actually explains the nature of the soul and how the soul is eternal. It is not attached to the material body, like that. Okay, let's go ahead. We'll read now. Okay, Sindhu Mataji, go ahead. The purport of this expression.
Hare Krishna, pranams Mataji.
Pranams, Mataji.
Hare Bol, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, I'm reading from the book, Mataji. Which one? Which paragraph? Okay, the purport of this expression.
Yeah, the purport of this expression by Vasudeva is this.
Yeah, the purport of this expression by Vasudeva is this. Although he had 8 sons born in the womb of Devaki, unfortunately, they were all gone. He could not even keep his one son Krishna with him. Vasudeva was feeling the separation, but he could not express the real fact. Please tell me about the welfare of Vrindavana, he said. You have many animals. Are they happy? Are they getting sufficient grass and water? Please also let me know whether the place where you are now living is undisturbed and peaceful. This inquiry was made by Vasudeva because he was very anxious about Krishna's safety. He knew that Kamsa and his followers were trying to kill Krishna by sending various kinds of demons. They had already resolved that all children born within 10 days of the birthday of Krishna should be killed. Because Vasudeva was so anxious about Krishna, he inquired about the safety of his residents. He also inquired about Balarama and his mother Rohini, who were entrusted to the care of Nanda Maharaja. Vasudeva also reminded Nanda Maharaja that Balarama did not know his real father. He knows you as his father. And now you have another child, Krishna, and I think you are taking very nice care of both of them. It is also significant that Vasudeva inquired about the welfare of Nanda Maharaja's animals. The animals, and especially the cows, were protected exactly in the manner of one's children. Vasudeva was a Kshatriya and Nanda Maharaja was a Vaishya. It's the duty of the Kshatriyas to give protection to the citizens, and it's the duty of the Vaishyas to give protection to the cows. The cows are as important as the citizens. Just as the human citizens should be given all kinds of protection, so the cows also should be given full protection. Vasudeva continued to say that the maintenance of religious principles, economic development, and the satisfactory execution of meeting the demands of the census depend on the cooperation among relatives, nations, and all humanity. Therefore, it is everyone's duty to see that his fellow citizens and the cows are not put into difficulty. One should see to the peace and comfort of his fellow men and the animals. The development of religious principles, economic development, and sense gratification can then be achieved without difficulty. Vasudeva expressed his sorrow due to not being able to give protection to his own sons born of Devaki. He was thinking that religious principles, economic development, and the satisfaction of his senses were therefore all lost. Upon hearing this, Nanda Maharaja replied,
Hare Krishna, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Mataji. We'll ask Sarva Gopeshwari Mataji to read the last section. But here, just to quickly summarize here, Vasudeva is not thinking, oh, why my son has gone to Nanda Maharaj? I'm not enjoying any pastimes with my son, right? So in this way, he's not weeping. He's not, having this victim mentality. He's not thinking, oh, why? I did so much of tapasya to get Krishna as my son, but finally when Krishna appeared as my son, I have to immediately go and give him away to Nanda Maharaj at Vrindavan. And even Nanda Maharaj comes, I'm not able to claim that it is my son. How is my son doing? He's not even able to ask that. But yet he has no negative feelings towards anybody, right? Vasudeva is inquiring to Nanda Maharaj about Krishna and Balaram. And in this way, he cares for Krishna and Balaram, and he also cares for the Vrindavan Dham. And in this way, inquires about Krishna, Balaram, Vrindavan Dham, etc. Right? So he actually there is this progression: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Right? Where one tries to perform all religious principles for the purpose of acquiring of wealth, and one is very happy. Then one tries to attain moksha. That is kama, and then moksha. Kama means all my desires are fulfilled. Right? I don't have any desire. So in that state, what am I going to do? I'm going to simply work. Right? Because I have enjoyed dharma, I'm performing my duty. Artha, in order to get wealth. Kama, to fulfill all my desires. And moksha is to get out of the three modes of the material world. But in this world, even if we get out of the three modes, even if you attain the Brahman platform, we have to come back. Brahma Bhona Loka Punar Avartino Arjuna. Right? Brahma Loka is one. That is somebody who's perfected the life, means one is performing this Varnashram Dharma very nicely. Right? Such a person automatically will be elevated to the state of a Brahmana. Right? But then, even if one is Brahminical, one again and again gets born in the Brahmana family. And yet, what is the advantage of being a Brahmana family? At least one is contented, one is happy, one is satisfied with the amount of knowledge one acquires with the study of Vedic scriptures. But yet, one has to go through the cycle of birth, death, disease, and old age. And a material body means pain. A material body means suffering. A material body, even if it is a Kshatriya's body or a Brahmana's body, or any body, it may be 8.4 million species, whatever material body a particular living entity takes, it is miserable, it is suffering only, it is pain, isn't it? So in that way, even if one is born as a Brahmana, life after life after life, yes, he is satisfied, he is contented, but still he is loitering, he is suffering in this material world. So our motto or our objective is to serve Lord Krishna in such a way that Lord Krishna is pleased with us and wants to take us back in his service eternally. Right? So how do we do that? By developing the right consciousness, by developing the seva bhav of serving in the mode of the servant. And doing all of this, will attract the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, and by their mercy, we'll be able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We'll be able to go back to Godhead. All right. So last section, who will read? Sarva Gopeshwari Mataji can just complete the last section for us. And tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow we will study Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. Okay. One second. I think it's gone ahead a little bit. Yes, on hearing this, Nanda Maharaj replied from there. Sarva Gopeshwari Mataji, please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Mataji,
Hare Krishna.
On hearing this, Nanda Maharaj replied, "My dear Vasudeva, I know that you are very much aggrieved because the cruel king Kamsa has killed all your sons born of Devaki. Although the last child was a daughter, Kamsa could not kill her, and she has entered into the celestial planets. My dear friend, do not be aggrieved. We are all being controlled by our past unseen activities. Everyone is subjected to his past deeds, and one who is conversant with the philosophy of past unseen activities, everyone is subject to the past deeds, and one who is conversant with the philosophy of karma and its reaction is a man in knowledge. Such a person will not agree at any incident, happy or miserable." Vasudeva then replied, "My dear Nanda, if you have already paid the government taxes, then return soon to your place, because I think that there may be some disturbance in Gokula. After the friendly conversation between Nanda Maharaja and Vasudeva, Vasudeva returned to his home. Nanda Maharaja and the other cowherd men who had come to Mathura to pay their taxes also returned home. That's the end of the Bhaktivedanta Patpat, 5th chapter, Krishna, the meeting of Nanda and Vasudeva. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. So this marks the end of the 5th chapter of the Krishna book. We discussed it in detail in the last session, but only thing we missed to go YouTube live. So devotees were asking, when did you complete the chapter 5? So we thought we'll do a quick revision today. So predominantly, most of it we read, and typically what we are doing is. A kind of a revision. But we all know the pastime of Krishna, right? The pastime of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya and Vasudeva and Devaki, right? How all of them have this Vatsalya Rasa with Krishna, and how Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj are the eternal parents of Krishna, and how Nanda Maharaj as a Vaishya comes to pay tax to Vasudeva, and we see Vasudev's attitude of how he is so much caring for Krishna and Balaram, caring for Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya, and for the entire Vrindavan Dham. So in all situations, a devotee always does what is right for him, right? To make the right choice means to be surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to be surrendered to Guru and Gauranga, and follow the instructions of Guru and Gauranga. So with that, we will end our today's session. In next Monday, Monday we will be doing Krishna book again, where we will be discussing chapter 6 of Krishna book, where Putana is being delivered by Lord Sri Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Krishna book ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai, Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. So quickly we'll do Harinam Sankirtan. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Ashatyadi Shatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, Jai Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jai Jai Sudarshan, Jaya Bala Gopal, Jaya Radha Krishna, Jaya Radha Madhav, Jai Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Ras Bihari, Jaya Radhe Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jai Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Gurudev, Jai Jai Gurudev, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada, Gurudev ki Jai. Anant Koji Vaishnava Vrind ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for joining in. Tomorrow's session also pretty much we'll be having it about the same time, say 11:30. So I'll share a message in the group for tomorrow's session. We are still in Pune, so in this week we may have to have a little bit of change of time, but probably from next week we hope to get back to our standard schedule. So thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Krishna book ki Jai, Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Please do join us at 5 a.m. Indian Standard Time for Japa chanting in the morning, 5 to 7:15, and then we'll meet at about 11:30 for our Krishna. No, tomorrow we will do Bhagavad Gita study. We'll also have our verse for the week, so that we can memorize that and contemplate it for this week. I think we already decided the verse. We'll post it tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrind ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.